Hi there, and welcome to the Veterinary Marketing Podcast, where it's all about how to attract, engage, and retain clients to your veterinary practice using digital marketing. My name is Brandon Brashears. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today's episode is a special episode because it's the 7th anniversary episode. I can't believe it's been 7 years since I started the podcast. In those 7 years, digital marketing has come so far. Veterinary hospitals have come so far. I'm amazed at how good veterinary hospitals are doing at digital marketing. So I'm really excited about just all of the things that I've seen so far, all the people that I've met, and just this experience of starting this podcast has been incredibly rewarding. So first of all, I want to thank you so much for listening. If you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast from. If you ever want me to cover something, please let me know. You can reach out to me and just let me know if there's anything that you would like to have covered in this podcast. Just ask away. If you ever need help with anything, the best place to go is the Veterinary Marketing Nerds Facebook group. If you go to facebook.com/groups/the Veterinary Marketing Nerds, you can request to join. As always, if there's anything that I can do to help, please let me know. But sincerely, I want to say thank you so much for listening. It's been incredible to have just met so many amazing people to work in this wonderful industry. I've always felt a little bit like an outsider simply because I've never worked in a veterinary practice, and I just kind of showed up and started making this podcast. But everybody has been incredibly just welcoming. I just love this community. I love this industry. And so I just want to say thank you so much for having me to kind of be here to help you with marketing. So again, thank you so much. If there's anything that I can ever do, please let me know. And I say that and I actually mean it. So if you ever just want to reach out, please let me know if there's anything I can do to help. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about 7 lessons that I think are probably the most important pieces of marketing, the most important elements of marketing that you're going to want to really make sure that you have in place for your marketing as a practice. So kind of the biggest 7 items that are going to help your practice to really stand out and be successful when it comes to digital marketing. And I think that, digital marketing has changed a ton over the past 7 years. And I think one thing about digital marketing is that it's getting more and more competitive and more difficult, simply because it's more crowded. There's more people doing it, right? 7 years ago, it was a lot easier to stand out just because there was less competition. And the more competition that comes out, the better that you either have to be in terms of strategy, tactics, or execution, and all 3 of those. And so today we're going to cover these 7 different elements that I think are going to really help you to stand out and be a lot more successful and ensure that you're successful. So let's jump into it. The first thing that I think most practices really need to have nailed down, make sure that they know without a doubt, are their customer avatars. And I think this is something like anytime we talk about ads, content, or anything, we got to talk about who you want coming in that door. Who do you want coming into your practice? Who do you want to be serving? And what are those people doing before, during, and after your exams? What is their mindset? What are their demographics? What are their psychographics? Not just, the kind of base level things, but get really deep in terms of what it is that you're looking to do and attract into your practice, because it makes all the difference in the world to know who that is, because it's going to tell you all kinds of very valuable information. Where are these people hanging out online? What are they doing online? What are their biggest fears and concerns and worries? And you can really just get so much more out of your marketing if you know who it is for, and more importantly, who it's not for. I think trying to be for everybody is a big trap that a lot of people will fall into, and that actually leads us to the second item of today's podcast, which is you need to have specificity in all of the marketing that you do. I'd mentioned that it's a lot more competitive today than ever before. And so how can you stand out, and what can you do to really be head and shoulders above everybody else? And I think that specificity is the key here. Mass marketing is not something that is going to help you to try to get any kind of levels of success. Trying to aim for the masses, what that does is it creates content or messaging that's going to be really average. You're just trying to shoot for the middle, versus if you're trying to serve your specific avatar, what are their specific problems that they have? What keeps them up at night? What are their worries and concerns and fears? And if you can answer those questions, you're just going to be so much more successful. I want you to think about, everything these days is really, really segmented and specific. And the reason for that is because you have the ability to target individuals that are, again, going to be, have their own unique problems, have their own unique wants and needs and all of that. I want you to think about your favorite TV shows, or Netflix shows, or, whatever. Anything that is created these days is really created for a specific subgroup of people. And I mean, if you think about the most successful TV shows nowadays that have been like huge franchises, like, for example, there's been like Westworld and Sopranos and Mad Men and so many other shows that by old standards, which was the mass marketing and mass media standards, those would have been not successful, simply because they only reached, a couple million people per episode. But with the way that the internet has segmented everything, that segmentation made the content that was really, really good for a specific group of people, which then got those people talking about it, and it created successes. So being really, really specific is important, and that really helps you to get over the fact that maybe you're not good at creating entertaining content. Maybe you're not good at creating really, well-polished or nicely finished content. It doesn't look necessarily the most professional, or, there's a lot of problems that you can overcome with being specific, because it's going to be interesting to that subgroup of people. So once you know, again, who you're targeting and you create that specificity, which is number 2, we get into number 3, which is the offers. What is it that these people actually want, and how can we package this in a way that's going to be valuable to these groups of people? I think really refining a few core offers and knowing what it is that your clients actually want, what they actually need, and then delivering that in a way that makes it align with your brand, your pricing, and your positioning is so important. And I don't think that a lot of practices spend time thinking about, okay, what should our offer be? How should we be creating offers that are going to position our practice? What does our new client offers look like? What are our new client packages, or what is included in a new client, first visit? And really packaging that in a way so that it's going to resonate and provide value to your ideal clients is really, really important. And if you have an offer that your target demographic actually wants and needs, you're going to be so much more successful in digital marketing. When we're creating ads for practices, it really all comes down to the offer. What is it that you're going to be offering to these potential clients that are going to make them want to come in? If you have a bad offer, no amount of marketing is going to fix that. If you have a good offer, you're going to feel like you've really hit the jackpot. So that's 100% one of the most important make or break elements when it comes to digital marketing, is what is it that we're actually offering, so that we can, in a concise way, show what value we're giving to these potential clients. The next one is creating landing pages. I think landing pages are still the most underused tool when it comes to your website. And again, this is combining multiple things that we're talking about. Number 1, we need to know who our avatars are. We need to know what specifically they're going to be looking at. And then what's the offer? And make landing pages that take the work out of having the client figure out what you're all about, what's in it for them, why they should work with you, and making it in a way that's easy to consume. And I think more importantly, easy for the client or potential client to say, yes, I'm interested, I want to do this. So when you create a landing page, you're taking all the work out of making the decision for your client. You're giving them a specific offer. You're solving a specific problem. And it's a really huge benefit to use landing pages. And I think most practices are not using them to their fullest. And so that's something that you should start using if you're not. The next thing, and I really thought about putting this at number 1, is identifying your goals. Because when it comes to digital marketing, still the conversation, I know a lot of practices have come so far, but still the question I hear is, well, what's the return on investment? Or how can we tell if this is being successful? And that all comes down to the goals that you have. So before you're doing any kind of digital marketing, you need to know what are the goals that we have for the practice, what is the purpose of the marketing that we're doing, and how are we going to be able to measure that? So setting your goals is step 1. And so maybe it's the number of followers, maybe it's the number of new clients, maybe it's the number of specific procedures. Whatever it is, as long as it's defined and you can actually measure it, that's what you need to have so that you can really inform all of the other marketing activities that you're doing. If you're trying to attract new clients, you're going to have to start working towards strategies that are going to bring in new clients. Is it going to be SEO? Is it going to be pay-per-click ads? Is it going to be creating videos? Whatever it is, you're going to try to get there in the quickest and easiest way possible. And so those goals will inform all of that. The next thing is KPIs. So once you have those goals, how are we going to measure those? And KPIs are something that I'm really, really passionate about because I think it's important you actually make your KPIs easy to measure, easy to report, and put as few of them as possible. So the KPI is going to determine how you measure it, but maybe it's in number of new clients, maybe it's in clicks, maybe it's in number of followers on a page or engagements. So whatever that goal is, what is the appropriate KPI to measure that goal so that you're going to know if you're being successful or not? And I think, again, that's pretty straightforward, but if you can just really identify 10 or less KPIs for your digital marketing, that's going to help you to really understand, is what we're doing actually working or is it not working? And I gave you the number 10 because that's kind of manageable, but as few as possible. Don't be measuring click-through rates of individual campaigns and, just tons and tons of data points. Whoever's doing the digital marketing and they're in that practice, doing it daily or multiple times per week, those people need to be deep diving into those more advanced KPIs. But as a practice owner, practice manager, you should be really focused in on high-level KPIs that are going to give you kind of a good indication of if things are working or if they're not working. And I think that if you are taking a look at those high-level KPIs, if you see something's off, that will give you, the ability to deep dive into those more detailed KPIs that are going to really help you to figure out exactly what's going on. But your general KPIs should be easy to pull, readily available, and they should tell you how things are going so that you know for a fact if your marketing is working well or if it is not. And then the last thing that I think, which is our number 7 marketing element that you should be focusing on, is build assets. So build things that are going to actually pay over and over again. Don't do marketing that is just a one-time thing. So anytime you're building an email sequence, if you're building content, if you're doing, whatever it is, work on stuff that you're going to be able to use over and over again that are going to perform for you. And every single time you build something, whether it's an email follow-up sequence, a text message marketing sequence, whatever it is, if it's something that you're going to be able to use again in the future or set up as an automation, that is an asset that is going to just continue to pay dividends for a long time. So, like when I'm thinking of content that lasts a long time are going to be podcast episodes, videos that you're going to post and repost frequently, videos that are not like related to recent events, but rather general, very timely questions about like tick treatment or flea treatment or heartworm or things like that you can then reuse every single year. But if you just tried to make one video, per month or something, and you started building up your library of content that you could then use for a long time, you would have a great library full of marketing resources, and it's going to be assets that you can use for a really long time, and it's going to help to pay for itself, and it's going to help to really drive clients for a long time. So whenever I'm thinking of marketing, especially if, so many practices are insanely busy all the time, we're thinking about how do we create assets that are going to be able to be used over and over again for a very long time, provide a return for a very long time, and hopefully make our lives a lot easier. So I just recap this really quickly here. We have the 7 elements. We have number 1 is your customer avatar, knowing exactly who it is that you're targeting. Number 2 is create specificity in your marketing. So your avatars have specific problems, wants, needs, desires. You need to serve them. And the content that you create, the ads that you create, any kind of marketing collateral that you create should be specific, not general. Number 3 is dial in your offers. Know exactly what it is that's going to motivate your ideal clients to come in. How can you package your offerings so that it is attractive, that people actually want it, and that they come in to your practice? Really having those offers dialed in is going to be helpful. Number 4 is landing pages, and get specific with the offers that you produce. Put those on their own landing pages so that people don't have to do a ton of work to figure out what it is that you're trying to get them to do, so that they can say yes easily. Number 5 are goals. Understand exactly what it is that we're trying to do here with our digital marketing. Number 6 is KPIs. That informs us how we're if we're meeting our goals or if we're missing our goals. And then number 7 are build assets and do things that are going to have a long return for you so that you can make your life easier. And the work that you do is going to pay dividends for a long time rather than just a one-time thing. So I hope this was helpful. Again, thank you so much for listening. I really, really appreciate it. If you know anybody who you think would be able to benefit from this podcast, please be sure to share it with them. Again, I just want to say thank you for listening. Thanks for the past 7 years. And I'm really excited for the future. There's so many cool opportunities, so much cool things happening in the world of digital marketing. And if there's anything that you ever feel like you want to have covered, please let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next episode. Have a great day, everybody.